So you want to play Magic the Gathering, or at least you're thinking about it. Well, I recently did too, and not that I had stumbling blocks, but there were questions that I didn't realize I had until I started. So here they are, and I hope they help you. So straight into the video. So first, a non-exhaustive history of Magic the Gathering's origin. Creator Richard Garfield, who was a maths professor, started designing the game in Pennsylvania in the early 80s. He left the teaching profession and in 1994 joined Wizards of the Coast, who are the folks who own Dungeons & Dragons and Magic the Gathering. It was the first trading card game, before the likes of Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh!, and as of 2016, there are more than 27,000 unique Magic card designs. There are two main formats to play Magic, even though there are many ways to play. There's the most popular, which is Commander, and then there is Standard. Standard is a 60 card pre-constructed deck. These are usually bought as your starter and come in packs of 2, so you can get the vibe of different colours and cards, giving you a wider sense of the game, as well as a second deck to play against someone. Commander is a 100 card deck where you choose a legendary creature as your commander and basically use their mechanics and abilities as a cornerstone of your deck. This format's also known as Elder Dragon Highlander or EDH. By no means am I saying that Commander is necessarily more advanced than Standard. However, Commander requires 100 unique cards with allowance for lands, so there's a broader scope of the type of cards and tactics you will need to be familiar with. It's worth noting at this point that ways to play include Magic the Gathering Arena, which is a mobile and desktop app, but is for standard format only. Magic Online, which is its own standalone software. There are other online play systems. They aren't supported in official means, but they are available. There's in person, of course, as well, and finally by using your physical cards with a camera via video call. In my research so far, video calling to play is actually fairly common, much more than I anticipated, and I think it's a rather cool way to do it. From the stories I've read, why people play like this, it's more of a friendly way to play. There isn't necessarily anything competitive or anything like that. To me, it's like friends using it as an excuse to bust out cards they've had for years just to call their mates and chat. And that's really cool to me. It's wholesome as heck. This section is what really drove me to make this video. Buying your first deck. So for Standard, there are pre-constructed decks you can purchase in varying colours and varying flavours. And by flavours, I mean that the flavour of the deck builds around. Is it a rush deck where it tries to ramp up mana for a quick win? Does it spawn a load of tokens to overwhelm in numbers that couldn't possibly be blocked? Is it geared towards getting huge power creatures out and doing death by massive damage? Or is it set to work around your opponent's defense in some way with the likes of flying or trample? And that's just Standard. In Commander, it goes to a whole new level of individuality. See, the big word in Commander is synergy. I'm not trying to up my corporate word count there, it literally all depends on how well your commander gels with the rest of your deck. That being said, a lot of this is interchangeable for all formats, but Commander really brings it home. With that kind of knowledge under your belt, it's time to do a bit of searching for the flavour and flair you like. Way back in August last year, I attended PlebCon in Manchester. It's a great event hosted by my friend RageDarling. It's mainly for WoW or World of Warcraft, but they play Magic there too. Anyway, I was given a free jump start booster pack, which we will talk about later, but in it I found Amiel the Blessed. Amiel is a perfect example of synergy, so I'm going to give you a brief scenario. Don't worry if you don't know all the words I'm saying and all that. You will catch up or catch on to the important bits. Amiel's main ability is that for 3 mana, she can exile a creature from the battlefield and then it instantly comes right back. It doesn't seem like a ridiculous effect, it's fairly straightforward and not even overpowered. And this is where the synergy bit comes in. There are cards in Magic that have what's known as enter the battlefield mechanics. So when they enter the field, it causes some kind of effect to trigger, and since Amiel can do this as long as she has mana, you can trigger these effects multiple times on your turn, or other people's turn. For example, this card here, which is Inspiring Overseer, when it enters the battlefield, it lets me draw a card. I would then use Amiel's ability, and they're placed onto the battlefield again, so I get to draw another card, and so on. This is why I recommend you do your research first. Don't do what I did. I was off. I chose to use Amiel on a whim and sentimentality, my first legendary creature that I ever pulled, and I really wanted to build a deck around it. Just because of that fact. But were I to start today, I would look into the pre-constructed decks. They're far cheaper and get you up and going right away. It took me a few months to get this to a point I could play with it. It's still not done. Pre-constructed decks are already built to high standard and you can always modify them down the line. I have a friend who only uses pre-constructed decks. Hi Kieran. He owns several boxes of them from over the years and can play perfectly fine with any of the other folks at our local gaming shop. I want to note here too that in recent years there have been a number of crossover decks with such franchises as Fallout, Doctor Who, Warhammer, and the aforementioned Lord of the Rings. Oh wait, have I mentioned it yet? I don't think I have, but also Lord of the Rings. So if you're a fan, you may be interested in grabbing one of those pre-con decks. Hint, we're going to talk about Lord of the Rings in a second. I mentioned I got MEL from a Jumpstart booster. Well, I just thought there was only one kind of booster pack, and I was really, really wrong. So in total, there are 8 different kinds, but I'm going to do the beginner thing here where I will list them, but I'll only tell you about 3. The different kinds of boosters are Play, Set, Draft, Jumpstart Booster, Collector, Epilogue, Complete, and Welcome. I'd recommend the Jumpstart if you want to dip your toes and try Magic. Literally what you do is you grab 2 Jumpstart booster packs, or in this case, one of these packs. They have 20 cards in each of them. You open them, shuffle them together, and you're ready to play against someone who does the same. The Jumpstart packs are themed, so they can have dragons or elves or something that kind of ways. There have been Lord of the Rings inspired Jumpstart packs as well, with hobbits and dwarves. They're great. You play by the standard rules of the game. The boosters come with enough lands to play, and I'm not saying they all work well together, but it's kind of like controlled chaos. It's no massive investment either. You just get some cool cards, you get to play right off the bat. It's a great way you get perfect starter experience. It hooked me. Play boosters have the best bang for their buck from what I found. I've gotten most of my rares and mythic from these types of boosters, and have in total only bought about 10 boosters, not including this one. I haven't opened this one yet, but they are packed with good stuff. Last of the boosters I would recommend are set boosters. This is a draft booster, but this is just to explain. You grab these when you have specific color or themes in mind. These will get you your best chances to build the type of deck you want. Again, that's set boosters. This may seem like a silly note to point out here, but if you have a specific theme or color or build in mind, do check out which is the best matching set booster, as all of the boosters are listed. They have variations on each with different releases, which of course doesn't mean that you will get exactly what you want all the time, or even 5% of the time. It's all chance. Speaking of, I would be remiss if I didn't give you my experience on buying singles. Sometimes there are just cards that you just want, but for whatever reason you can't pull them from a booster or pre-con deck, or they're just not available anymore. So you do what we all do, you give up.
What can you possibly do? What can anyone do? Why even try?
I'm joking. Either go to your local game shop on Magic Night and see if you can trade with someone, or you can go online and buy from private sellers. I've done both and have had great success in each. But heck, if buying online wasn't a little bit stressful, so let me break this down for you so you don't have this experience. There are online sellers for digital cards. I'm just going to say that again. There are online sellers for digital cards. My first experience buying cards online, I had a full list of everything that would go perfect with MEL. Found a site called Card Hoarder, which is, quote, Magic the Gathering's original premier online mercantile. Now, had online been positioned closer to the Magic the Gathering, I probably wouldn't have had that snafu, but alas, here we are. Please make sure what you're buying are physical cards, not like me who bought digital cards for Magic the Gathering online. And now to do that in the US, where analytics say 47.6% of you are from, like and subscribe, your go-to sites are TCG Player, Card Kingdom, and Cool Stuff Inc. I will say eBay here as well from researching this. eBay in the States is much more reliable on trading cards than it appears to be anywhere else in the world. For myself here in Europe, I will always go to Card Market because they have an exceptional user rating system. It literally shows you each evaluation / review of the seller, how many parcels were never delivered to a buyer, and total number of sales for that particular seller. Now that is a massive amount of information that you can determine if you want to buy from that particular seller or that particular card, and you still have the good, bad, middling review options on there too to discern from. I just want to say as well, when you are checking the singles market for Magic the Gathering cards, be sure to select whether you want foils or not, what rarity, the condition or grade of the card, and very important, what language you want the card to be in. This threw me for a loop when I was playing it some guys in my local card gaming shop. So a funny thing happened. I was told by a site that I had a limited edition, rare as heck, rainbow foiled card, which would have taken this card and made it $377. If that's hard to see, I'm sorry, but it's a rainbow foil card with this fancy cover on it. So I was over the moon. I was excited to like trade this one card for like a whole new deck or something insane. Well, it turns out that they thought it was a serialized card with double hollow rainbow foil. So your face is probably like this right now. I know I was. Well, I'm going to quickly clear this up as best as I can right now. So the most obvious rarity indicators are these little emblems here. So in order of most rare to least, red is mythic rare, then there's rare, uncommon, and common. So there are reddish orange, gold, silver, and black. There are also serialized cards, which basically means you have a number on the front, just about here, stating the card is X of 500 or however many they're limited to that run, which is normally 1 to 500. These are probably the most valuable and are only on specific cards. So if you have one of these, please hold on to it, make sure it's safe, and get it graded. I would be useless if I didn't point you towards some good resources that can teach you more, and the first one I want to highlight, she's a personal friend of mine, makes amazing videos, and is hilarious to boot, BillieTrixx. Billie's short form videos are the perfect little packets of info, easily digestible, cover relevant rules, and most importantly, the fundamentals. By that I mean that Billie touches on something that irks me in many spaces. She breaks down expected knowledge. The stuff that is seen as so common in the field, it's almost scoffed at when those in the field have to explain it, which immediately makes us newcomers feel embarrassed and want to leave. So that's why I appreciate Billie's videos so much. Next resource I would like to highlight is Tolarian Community College. They're not an actual community college, just to clear that up. However, they do how-tos, reviews, and advice videos on everything from different playstyles to building your own deck on a budget. If you think I'm a bit light on the ground recommending Tolarian College, it's for good reason. They have such an expansive list of videos and topics that they have over 1,500 videos. That's not a bad thing. What I'm saying is that they have a massive wealth of knowledge on there. Now, I like to add 3 resources for folks when I recommend stuff, but for Magic, well, as I said in the beginning, there's more than 27,000 cards, so I'm just going to recommend the entirety of YouTube. I'm serious, like, there's guides upon guides of how to build specific decks around specific cards and how other cards work with them, so just find a commander card or type of deck you like and search up deck builds around it. I like to finish out my videos with lesser known tidbits of knowledge that you might find interesting, so for this, it was easy. Because, well, if you're watching this, you know nothing about Magic the Gathering. Everything is exciting and new for you. Remember Richard Garfield, the maths professor who created Magic the Gathering? Well, he proposed to his then-girlfriend Lily during a game. He had a card made called Proposal, which read, "Allows Richard to propose to Lily." The card is quite cute and required 4 planes to play. The full card reads, "Allows Richard to propose marriage to Lily. If the proposal is accepted, both players win. Mix the cards in play, both libraries and both graveyards as a shared deck." I'm going to make this a 2 for factoid here and say the funny thing about the card is that it took him 4 games to play it. He couldn't find the mana to play the card before Lily beat him. Last little fact I will give you here is that Magic the Gathering actually has a story to it. Each of the sets/releases are tied to a story, not a big overarching tale or anything, but little set parts that make for an interesting theme to build the decks around. Well folks, that is the video. Thank you for watching. Please do check out my D&D videos, if that's your jam of course. Otherwise, any Magic the Gathering stuff I can review, I will. Take care folks, have a great day. See you in the next video.